Now, they've done a comprehensive investigation. And again, BYU's initial instinct was to apologize. They felt awful. They believed her, but they said, we're going to investigate, to be fair. And this comprehensive investigation has found that it didn't happen. There's absolutely no evidence of it, to the contrary. So she comes out and says, BYU's statement does not change my position. In fact, the statement and the findings are in keeping with what I and many others anticipated. Keep in mind, Vivek, this godmother, Lisa, likes to refer to white people as crackers and has got several racist tweets of her own, which now she's made her account private. Daily across America, she continues, the burden of proof in instances like these involving people of color, as well as marginalized people, economically disadvantaged people, and disempowered people, is shifted unfairly and without hesitation. She feels the burden of proof was shifted upon her goddaughter, who, so far as I can tell, wasn't required to do much, if anything, in this investigation. They just sat and reviewed hours and hours of videotapes, talked to everybody who was nearby. Maybe they took her testimonial as well. But the point is, she crosses her arms and says, no. And if it comes out against me, you've unfairly shifted the burden of proof on me.
So one of the things that I reject wholesale is this post-Foucault worldview of defining all human relations in terms of power structures, okay? And she used the word disempowered. So I reject that worldview. But in this situation, if you're going to embrace a power structure-based description of what happened there, the disempowered person was actually the person who was accused. There's no doubt about it. And that might be different. 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, a century ago, the tables may have been turned in a very different direction. But today, in the year 2022, there's little doubt in my mind that the person who was in the disempowered position was no doubt the accused. And even still, with the tilt of that investigation and BYU's initial posture going into it, already ruining that person's life in many measures, still could not find a shred of evidence to support it. What does it remind me of? It reminds me of at the end of the Jussie Smollett case. Okay, so this is a guy who faked a hate crime hoax. The prosecutors initially actually closed off the case because it looked like it smelled really rotten, but actually had to be reopened by federal prosecutors. Speaking of Michelle Obama, by the way, I can't resist bringing this back in. She was a friend of Jussie Smollett's, and it was an acquaintance, a chief of staff, I believe, of Michelle Obama, who contacted the initial prosecutors in the case to get them to drop charges. It was only after President Trump then directed federal officials to reopen the investigation that any of this even came to light. We found a guy who literally was paying two other black men, one of whom he had a homosexual intimate relationship, to pose as white supremacists. That is how hard it is to find a white supremacist to beat up a famous Hollywood actor, is to have to pay them to be able to, you have to be in an intimate relationship with one of them. But the funny thing, the cherry on top is, so I don't know if that's the full extent of what happened here in the BYU case or not, but the part that reminded me of it is when the godmother's quote you described reminds me of the defense attorney in the Smollett case, who at the end of the case, she was losing really badly. I mean, the trial was embarrassing, right? If you're in the defense side here, this is Jussie Smollett as defendant for faking the hate crime hoax, that she then claims racism on the part of the judge, who she claimed began to lunge at her because she was a woman of color in the courtroom. You remember that? I mean, it's amazing how this story, if that were a one-off incident, then I don't think it would be worth talking about, right? A lot of people do a lot of stupid things. They're not all worth commenting on. This is different. This is part of a pattern that repeats itself. And I think it's more interesting if we bring this up, not to, embarrass or call out any particular individual from a partisan perspective, from Michelle Obama to Kamala Harris to this attorney, to this godmother. It's more interesting if we're just curious about what is the psychological, pathological state of mind of an entire country that produces this same narrative time and again. And one of the things that's uncomfortable for some of us on the right, I don't know how you feel about this, Megyn, is that I actually see that pathology spreading to the right, actually, through the narratives of
embracing
white
victimhood
identity or conservative victimhood identity. And I think that's how the woke left wins, is not with a bang, but with a whimper. Where, I think conservatives fall into the narrative of saying, well, you're a victim. Well, guess what? I'm an even bigger victim. And we're
now victim you.
Victimhood Olympics.
There is a growing sense of instability and uncertainty in America these days. The price of everything seems to be way up. Food prices especially have the nation reeling. But what if you could grow your own food? Hear me out. Let me introduce you to ARC Seed Kits. This is so cool. ARC Seed Kits is a family-owned and operated business providing heirloom seeds for over 13 years. Now, ARC Seeds wants to get heirloom seeds into every home in America. 99% of seeds sold today do not have the ability to reproduce. Only heirloom seeds can be harvested and regrown year after year. ARC's desire to equip every home in America with the ability to grow and harvest its own food led it to create the all-in-one seed kit. It's designed to grow calorie-dense vegetables and fruits that will sustain any home at any time. You'll even get a seed guide, you'll need that when you start, that's going to give you everything you need to know about growing and harvesting every variety included in the kit. For a limited time, we have partnered with ARC to offer a 10% discount code. So go to arcseedkits.com, ARK, and enter MK Seeds to get your 10% discount code. And be on your way to food and economic security, helping you, your family, and your community. Again, it's ARC, spelled ARK, seedkits.com, arcseedkits.com to order your seed kits today, arcseedkits.com, and use the code MK Seeds to get your discount. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.